All right, 4th and 5. We are back at it again. Another episode of 4th and 5 presented by Ortho Arkansas. And like I said, Josh, a lot of people have been asking, so what is this game going to be? Arkansas, are we better than what we thought we were? Is OK State? Are they legit? Are they not? Are they a legit number 17 team in the country, number 16 team in the country? Well, I think after this episode, I think you've got to have a good idea at least of what we think, because we're going to break down Oklahoma State's film, and it's going to be good. And we're also going to set up the matchups, which group against which group, and we're going to let you know what we think. But Josh, OK State, Arkansas is about to head up. It's an early kickoff on the road at Stillwater. Both teams, I would say this game is the tone for the rest of the season, not just Arkansas.
Man, Stillwater's not a fun place to play. And, you know, everybody talks about Oklahoma, but Stillwater, first of all, there's nothing to do in Stillwater. No. Okay. I know guys who went to college there. They say there's absolutely nothing to do. Now, let's take it up with their economic development department. Maybe they've got some stuff since we were in college, but last time I checked, it's not that fun of a place. I hope I got some OSU guys, you know, watching this video that can, tell me what I'm missing out on in the comment section below. But to actually play in that stadium. Now, those fans they're mean and green, but they're really orange. But you get what I'm saying. Yeah. You know what I mean.
No, I know what you mean. So like I said, they're a team who I think from their perspective, they think they got a shot at making the playoff. So they understand how much rides on this game. Arkansas, a team who believes this is going to be one of the most pivotal games to set the tone for the rest of the year. So I'd say for both teams, already week 2, a must win. So it's gonna be awesome. All right, so this is what we got lined up for you here today. All right, we're gonna check in with Dr. Kurt Reynolds at Ortho Arkansas. Andrew Armstrong, it'd be really nice to see him play. I think he has a hamstring issue going on. We're gonna get Dr. Reynolds' opinion of how long that takes and if maybe we can see him play. We know Kudus is out. We'll talk about potential injuries there. And for all you NFL fantasy football coming back, Thursday night football. You need to know who to start, who to sit. We're going to tell you some key injuries for some top players in fantasy, and we're going to let you know if Dr. Reynolds should start him or sit him. So stick around for that. Also, we're going to get into the breakdown with Oklahoma State. That's going to be big. Trust me, you're going to want to see that. That may form your opinion. It may sway it. Who knows? But first, Josh, let's recap a little bit last week with our nice little plays of the week.
Oh, yeah. You know what time it is, Arkansas fans. We're talking about the MD Hair Labs hair-raising plays of the week. If you don't know who MD Hair Labs is, we just want to say first and foremost, thank you to our sponsor, MD Hair Labs in Northwest Arkansas. They're right over off that Topgolf exit in Rogers. They're the leading hair restoration experts when it comes to men's hair loss. Man, they're even doing women's eyebrows. There's so many women that come in from all over the country over there, literally going in there to get their eyebrows restored, which is absolutely amazing. If you saw the before and afters that I've seen, your mind would be blown. What they're doing over there with guys restoring them from, if you're thinning, you don't have to, brother. If you're going bald, you don't have to, brother. Go check out MD Hair Labs in Northwest Arkansas. Schedule a free consultation. They do that. First time consultation's always free if you want to see how your game could be changed. So, all right, let's get into it. The MD Hair Labs hair-raising plays of the week. First up, we've got Keyshawn Blackstock. Oh, this is what I like to see out of an offensive lineman. A guy who wants to go up and get it, go up and put a hat on a hat, getting downfield like he's a fullback. Look at him move. Guys like this is why plays get extended. This is why this is a touchdown, because he got out there, got ahead of the ball, found a guy, and got involved. He wasn't being lazy. Next up, we got Green to Washington, Ty Washington. Somebody put that man in the game more. That guy's going to be scoring touchdowns on Sundays. I can guarantee you that. If we have a John Mackey Award winner, they might as well make 2 trophies, because this guy could go get it too. Look at that, right in the breadbasket. 2 feet in, touchdown, baby. Number 2, Taylen Green. You know what this reminded me of right here? This reminded me of Matt Jones. Just the long strides. Now, I'm not going to say all that just to say it. I'm just saying the way that he's striding. Look, that man's covering 8 yards per stride. These guys can't catch him. Perfect angle in for the touchdown. Ball over the pylon. Taylen Green is mean. But the number 1 play is Isaac Tesla. You know he's nasty. He's doing it for all of us who can't. Look at him go up with the one-handed catch it. Rolling in the 10-yard line. Ooh, first down, 3rd and 7. Sticky icky. He got them sticky icky hands. Oh, my Lord, have mercy. That's what you want to see, a guy that's going to go up and get it done. MD Hair Labs, hair-raising plays of the week against UAPB. You guys got to stay tuned for next week. Hopefully, we're going to put together some great MD Hair Labs hair-raising plays of the week against OSU. All right, DJ, back to studio.
Hold up, Josh. You said Cheslaw's doing it for who?
For the ones who can't, brother. For the ones who can't. I love Tesla.
Yeah, so many big plays, reliable hands. That was fun. And like I said, we had a lot of plays to pick with. I know a lot of people saying right now, what about the defense? We know Coach T. Will's doing his thing. I'm hoping to get more highlights, but man, they were just so outclassed UAPB. But defense is going to be huge this week. So just like I said, it's going to be about this breakdown. And like I said, without further ado, let's go ahead and hop in to see what Oklahoma State is all about. All right, like I said, it's all about that tape. It never lies. Let's get into it. Going to show you exactly what you need to know and what you need to be watching for when it comes to Oklahoma State on offense and defense. All right, let's pick right up into game one. They played a very talented team in South Dakota State in the FCS team, and they're legit. I'm going to give them that. Obviously, Oklahoma State has the upper hand. All right, let's get into the first drive of the game. And this is what is very impressive and which should be very exciting for Arkansas. As I press pause, let me go back. I'm talking about the push from the offensive line. The push from the offensive line. I mean, would you just look at that? That is impressive. Reestablishing the line of scrimmage. You see that black line, the line of scrimmage? They got guys pushed back almost 3-4 yards. That's an FCS team. That being said, it should be a very competitive day up front if that's how it's going to be to start things off up there in Stillwater. All right, let's go ahead and keep things moving. Let's move to the second play of the first drive right here. You got a 2nd and 7. They use a lot of motions to try to get indicators on the defensive side of the ball. They kind of understood they were going to be in zone right there and get the ball out quick. Another one right here as I kind of run this back just a little bit. This is going to be another 1st and 10. And again, look at the right side of that line. Look at that. A whole wall. The push is amazing. That should be very exciting if you're a Razorback fan, at least, like I said, when it comes to the battle up front of offensive line and defensive line. South Dakota State moving the ball on the ground. All right, let's keep this first drive alive. This is a 3rd and 2 right here. And once again, a perfect play call. They love using emotion. You see the confusion right there with the swap route between the receivers. The DBs got caught up. A very great concept. Coach Petrino is going to see plays like this and take advantage of it. Now, that being said, you got to make the throw. You can see right here, overthrown, didn't get the 3rd and 2, but they go for it on 4th. And this is where I see a Coach Petrino, if he gets into a situation like that. Y'all remember that play where Ryan Mallett would take the snap, hide the ball behind his back, and throw it to Chris Gregg going down the field. It's called Cowboy Go Get It Pass. What better team to do it than playing against the Cowboys? But a perfect little play call right here. Kind of the same concept. But unfortunately, the tight end stumbles. Quarterback panics a little bit, just throws the ball nowhere. If he would have just been a little bit more patient, potentially could have got it to that tight end who stumbled out. This should have been a conversion on 4th down. So offensively, Razorbacks should be in pretty good shape. All right, let's go pick up on Oklahoma State's first drive right here. You can see it's going to be all about establishing the run and utilizing the receivers. This dude right here, number 80, he's all over the place. He's going to be their number 1 receiver. But the thing about here, I'm not going to press pause because I want you to get a feel for what Arkansas is going to get a feel for. Tempo. These dudes were rolling on the first draft. I mean, the TV crew couldn't even get the camera up soon enough before the next ball was snapped. So that's going to be huge for the Arkansas's defense, is to keep up with this tempo that at least Oklahoma State started the game with. Now, let me go ahead and slow it down. They get into a 3rd and 4 situation. And this is what I think is pretty impressive. Even with the tempo, you can see good play calls. Some not so good, but this one was dialed up nice. They took a little bit more time to make sure they got it lined up right. But right here, quarterback did a great job being patient. They have a great concept on the sideline, or at least the short side of the field. But look at number 80. He lined up. Unfortunately, the quarterback just missed this throw, but that was the perfect play call. So they move fast, but they also get into the right plays as well. All right, we're going to pick up this 4th and 4. That was pretty sneaky right there. This is something Arkansas has to watch out for. You can tell this is a fourth down play. Quarterbacks pointing, offensive linemen standing straight up and pointing. They're trying to catch the defense off guard, and it worked up front. Look at these defensive linemen standing straight up, but they did that on purpose. The center kind of snuck down real quick just to snap the ball so nobody could get a nice rush on the quarterback, gave him a little bit more time standing in the pocket. This big receiver for Oklahoma State, he's going to be an issue if we let this guy get rolling. Great hands and a big body, 6'2", 230. Very impressive. All right, let's go ahead and pick things up. Once again, as the drive gets going, I threw this one in here because I want to just tell you how impressive number 80 is. Now, this was an incompletion, but this dude caught this ball. Look at this. He's going to be their top receiver. They're going to throw to him a lot. That's a pretty impressive snag, even though it was an incompletion. Got to watch out for him. Now, this is the Ollie Gordon effect. I haven't even talked about Ollie Gordon yet because they're honing in on him so much. But you can see right here, they motion number 80 in the backfield. Gordon, he just gets so much attention. Look at the entire flow of the defense. They're going to fake the handoff to him, get the ball to number 80 in the flat, and this is where Arkansas has to do big right here. You got to tackle in space and not miss, or at least hold them up. But this guy's going to be shifty. Can't afford that when it comes to Arkansas on defensive side of the ball. Let's pick up on a 3rd and 4 right here. Try to get them jump off sides. This is great veteran play by the quarterback, understanding they went ahead and faked the cadence. They knew what they were in. They see the rotation in the backfield. You see these safeties come up right here? That's, once again, the Gordon effect. It's 3rd and 4. They got to make sure we can't let this guy get the first with his legs. We need to bring extra guys in the box. What happens is you got one-on-one situations with your receivers outside. This is going to be a big responsibility for our DBs moving forward. Number 10 just drops it for Oklahoma State. Great ball, great placement. It's going to be a tall task for our secondary if we're in man-to-man situations. All right, let's go ahead and pick up this one right here. I want to talk about these edge rushers for Oklahoma State. Let me go ahead and roll that back a little bit. This dude, he's on something. He's got a motor, number 30, the end right there for Oklahoma State. And now this is something that Arkansas will see. Coach Petrino will see this. Anytime that you have this kind of stacked formation, this dude on the edge is given permission for this defensive end to cut inside. South Dakota State just couldn't pick up on this, and I don't know why. Arkansas should see this coming because this guy, since the outside leverage is contained by the guy outside of him, he's going to knife inside every single time. 1st and 10 right here. Once again, this dude, I said he's on something. Number 30, he has a real deal motor. Once again, you see that same stack. That same stack right there, that should be the indicator that he is going to knife inside. Like I said, it drove me crazy that they couldn't figure that out. Once again, Coach Petrino is going to tell them what's coming. They should be able to pick this up. But the dude is fast, no doubt about it, has a motor. Number 30 is going to be number 30 in Blackstock is going to be the matchup of the game. Have to figure out a way to slow him down. He's very athletic on the edge. All right, let's pick up on this 3rd and 8 right here. And this corner, it's their top corner. Dude's pretty savvy. Look at his hips right now. You would think right here, as soon as you push outside leverage, he should turn because you're threatening him deep. But he's savvy. He seems like a guy who's watched film. He's a senior. And the way he can open up his hips, come down on that ball, dude's going to be good. I'm curious to see who he's going to match up with because I think Arkansas has the advantage when it comes to receivers versus DBs. All right, OSU has the ball back, and this dude right here, Gordon, he's special. That play right there should have been about 3 yards. He turned it into a 6-yard gain. Let's pick up 2nd and 4 right here. And so every once in a while, they're going to sneak in these quarterback draws. Razorback fans are going to hate it when you see this guy just run right open. But, man, it's tough to defend that when you have so much to worry about on the defensive side of the ball. We're going to get caught sleeping a few times with that right there. All right, 1st and 10. Let's go ahead and pick this up. This was special to see. Patience with the quarterback, and I'm going to give this play credit to the offensive line. The time that they have. Understanding they're not bringing pressure, giving this guy all day, quarterback taking his time, not making a bad read, and a great catch on the sideline. All right, and once again, I said, even though he doesn't catch the ball, just him simply being on the field, they're always going to account for the handoff to number 0, the best running back in college football this year. So what they do, they go ahead and have this motion. What that's going to do is going to put number 80 all by himself on the right side. This dude is on an island out there, and he's pretty good one-on-one, man-to-man. A tall task for our defensive backs if we're going to commit to stopping the run. They have to step up to the test because number 80, he's shifty. Look at the double move. He goes out, goes in, goes back out. That's an easy throw and catch for a touchdown, something we got to be aware of. All right, let's go back to the defensive side of the ball. Once again, I don't know how many times this is going to happen. And you can see this call right here. You see this DB doing this? When he's indicating now the new responsibility. That guy goes in motion. He's out there on an island to himself. He's letting that defensive end know, okay, this is now my outside contain because I don't have a threat over here. That defensive end is just going to knife inside. Hopefully they see that on film. Huge indicator. And the defensive end knifes inside. Very tough block. Once again, I'd be shocked if we don't see it coming. I'm going to sound like a broken record. And I wish somebody would have told South Dakota State. They would have picked up a lot of pressures, no doubt about it. All right, let's go to a 3rd and 10 right here. Now, this is what is interesting. Defensive end is starting to feel himself a little bit. He says, dang, if I knife inside, maybe I keep that ball rolling, get another play. There is no outside leverage right now, and there's nobody outside to protect that outside leverage, so he needs to keep outside contained. This is where I think sometimes we can pick up some big plays because they're not very disciplined. Watch as the ball snaps. He's supposed to be outside contained. He jumps inside. Boom. Seals that block. Running back runs right off that left tackle's hip. Is able to cut inside this other linebacker who overplayed this a little bit. Picks up a big gain. So, like I said, sometimes they get caught slipping. They're not very disciplined, at least on the front. So we could take advantage of that when the plays present themselves, and you better believe Coach Petrino will. Another play I want to talk about right here, another indicator. Once again, they're stacked like this. The guy's going to knife inside. I'm just going to keep showing it, so when y'all watch the game, you're going to be like, DJ told me so. And ends up getting a holding call on that tight end right there. It needs to be better with his footwork, get his hat on the inside, and understand that dude's going to be crashing down. Another thing right here for Taylen Green, this is going to be big, and for our receivers. I think our receivers run better routes than South Dakota. This guy needs to push more vertical because this DB's pushing him down, really closing the window to get that ball in. But if you can still push vertical and then snap it off, there's going to be a much bigger window. This is going to be a huge play for Taylen Green to complete because this is going to be a look he's going to see a lot. If he can complete these slant routes, they're going to be in big-time shape to do some special things on the offensive side of the ball. No doubt about that. All right, let's go ahead and keep this thing rolling. I want to take a look at another play right here. I got to talk about this dude for Oklahoma State. Dude's a real deal. No deal about it. Their Mike linebacker, number 4. He can go, y'all. I would say he's kind of like a poor man's Harold Perkins from LSU. Not as dynamic, not as fast, but he's right around there. This dude's been around a while, and he can play some football. You're going to see some big hits from him, but his speed, this is going to be the deterrent, hopefully, for Taylen Green. Now, Taylen, yes, way faster than number 11, and I think number 4 took a very bad angle because he knew he was faster. If he plays against Taylen and takes that same angle, he's going to be beat. I'm sure his coaches are telling him that he's going to have a little bit better angle towards the sideline and try to force Taylen Green back as that pursuit is following close behind. So number 4 is going to have a big responsibility, but I will say, dude right there, he's a football player. And he's all right, so I've been talking about this guy the whole time, his impact by not touching the ball. Let's see what it looks like when he gets the ball. Defense has to wrap up because this dude, number 0, loves to break tackles. Look at this. That's a big dude, y'all. He's all a 230, 6'2", 6'3". That's a real deal running back right there. Going to have to wrap up. Got to understand one dude's not going to take him down. First guy that shows up just needs to be willing to take that hit, hold on, and wait for the cavalry to arrive. All right, here we go. Now, you saw the breakdown, at least for the first half, first couple drives. You know what they're going to try to do. And this is the thing. They tried to establish their identity on offense and defense. Obviously goes around their running back, who was, I would say, in my opinion, one of the best, if not the best in the country right now. So, Josh, this is what we do, college, NFL. When we sit down each week, we always do a scouting report. So right now, viewers, I'm going to take you to the NFL locker rooms. First thing we do, we pull up who we're playing against, and we kind of go through it. So let's go ahead and do that right now, Josh. Looking at the offensive side for Oklahoma State, you got receivers, and as you can see from the breakdown we just did, number 80, Presley, the real deal. He's a senior. He knows how to get in those right spots. He understands spacing. He's a dog. He's going to be somebody that if we unfortunately are in one-on-one situations, they're going to go for him, no doubt about it. So he leads that group, and you have that Rashad Owens, 6'2" receiver, redshirt sophomore. He's going to be maybe your 50-50 guy. If you see him in one-on-one situations, throw it up. Hopefully he can high point. He has really good, strong hands. He knows how to extend his hands away from his body. So I would say those are the guys to watch for the receiving core. Now let's move to the offensive line. Josh, listen to this. All right, when it comes to the O-line, you have a senior at left tackle, senior at left guard, a senior at center, a senior at right guard, a senior at right tackle, all 5 seniors. Like I said, Oklahoma State are returning 20 starters from last year out of the 22. So when it comes to experience, these guys got it. So that's going to be a very tough thing to compete against. All that experience, some big guys up front, going to be night and day from UAPB, no doubt about it. All right, let's keep moving along. Tight end. Yeah, he's another senior. He's going to be in the right spots, contribute in the running game. Not the biggest threat, but somebody you have to pay attention to. We'll give him that. Running back. I'll go to the quarterback first. Josh, this dude's been around almost when I played. This is his 7th year. Transferred to 2 different schools, coming in at Oklahoma State. Game manager. He's going to do his best not to turn the ball over. He understands where his talent is. And a guy who's seen a lot, he can see plays develop. He sees what's going on in the defense. And I think he really has a good staff behind him to do enough pre-snap motions to kind of get an idea of where the ball needs to go. But when it comes to the running back, bro, built different. All right.
He's a real deal.
Oh, my gosh. He's the real deal. This will be his last year playing football. Doak Walker Award winner last year. Heisman front runner. I know a lot of people saying it wasn't very impressive week 1. I thought it was very impressive. A patient runner. You can see he has everything you would want in a running back, and he's big time. And his backup, a redshirt freshman. I can't pronounce his name, so I won't try, but dude's legit. He's number 3. So that's going to be your lineup on the offensive side of the ball. So when I say all that, experience is the big thing I see there, coupled with one of the best players in college football.
DJ, when I was watching the game, because I actually watched the South Dakota State game when it aired, and I went back and watched it, on recording and just kind of skipped through the commercials because I wanted to really make sure that I saw what I thought I saw. Now, from an offensive perspective, they are really good. There's a lot of talent and a lot of old talent on that team. Like you said, Alan Bowman, he's been there since 2018. I mean, he came in back when Chad Morris was coaching the Arkansas Razorbacks. That's when he started playing college football. That's what's crazy about, the teams that are still playing. He's not the only one out there that's that old, that's been playing football for that long in college. Some of these guys could be pros, probably should be pros at this point. But I'm really not that worried about Alan Bowman. What makes Alan Bowman so good as a 6-year, 7-year guy at this point is his offensive line. All of those dudes have been there for quite some time. They got one of the best centers in the country. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but they were talking about him a lot on television. And they blocked really well. South Dakota State was not getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback. So when I look at the offense against South Dakota State, 2 things come to mind. Again, yeah, they got a lot of talent around Alan Bowman, and I think that makes him look a little bit better than what he really is. There was a play that I saw of Rashad Evans. We didn't even mention him. He had 3 receptions for 81 yards. Dezon Stribling had 6 receptions for 83 yards. Your boy Presley had 7 receptions for 35 yards. But Rashad Owens was the guy that was really blowing my mind. They cut back to a replay of him going one-on-one with one of the corners. When I tell you, the guy had legs they were just the thickest calves I've seen on a receiver. He looked like a running back. It was crazy. He looked like our big boy out of PA from high school, or when we were in high school, that went to USC and then transferred into
Broderick Green.
Broderick Green, yeah, it looked like Broderick Green's legs at receiver. I mean, it was insane. And so you look at the talent that's around them, And you go, okay, well, yeah, I kind of see why, they have so many yards. Don't get a lot of pressure on the quarterback. They got a lot of talent at receiver. And then guess what? When you get tired of, or you drop your defense back to protect the pass, they got a great running back to give to, and the lanes are wide open on offense. So they got all the pieces to the puzzle to make for a great offense.
Yeah.
But defense, DJ, defense. I'm telling you right now, there were multiple occasions where South Dakota State was moving the ball without an issue. In fact, Oklahoma State's defense was not the answer, and it's not the reason why they even stopped themselves. I mean, South Dakota stopped themselves on multiple occasions just by bad passes by the quarterback, a guy who's supposed to be pretty good down in the FCS. Apparently they've only lost one game against Iowa in the past 2 years, but he was the one making the mistakes. So that tells me that if we play Bobby Petrino style football and we go in and we don't make mistakes, we're not going to have a problem scoring on them either. That's what I'm led to believe, and that's what I'm going to lean on and hope on for next week, because I think it's a matchup where if our defense shows up, if Travis Williams shows up, and your boys down on that D-line show us something like you've been asking, I think this can truly be a game we get a little pressure on that quarterback.
Yeah, you talked about the D-line real quick. Did hear, can't really put a definite on this, but did hear that Landon Jackson left practice what looked to be some kind of shoulder issue. Now, they don't think it's a big deal. It didn't look like a big deal. It could be a precautionary thing. That's why we're going to talk to Dr. Reynolds here in just a little bit to see what potentially something could happen to make somebody precautionary, take them off the field for a little bit. Obviously, that concerns you, and we think, dang, he had to leave practice for that. But I think a guy who is that essential to the defense at all costs, hey, let's just get him to the game. We'll update you on that as we learn more. Moving forward to kind of what you were talking about with South Dakota. Yes, I will say, why are you typing so loud, man? Dang. That's all I hear.
Hey, man, I'm just staying ready for you, baby. Come on. Keep it coming.
You about to break your keyboard, man. You good?
Look, I'm over here researching. Let's go.
I see you on it. All right. My bad. South Dakota State, offensively, awesome. I don't think they were given enough credit. I know a lot of people saw the score, and they were just like, maybe Oklahoma State's not that good. South Dakota State was very impressive offensively. A great coordinator, guys who've been there a while, a team that's completely bought in, and they really picked up on the places where Oklahoma State were not disciplined, and they exploited them. Now, they have two guys on the edge of playing defense for Oklahoma State, and they make some plays, and they also do a lot of risk plays, and they caught them on the edge quite a bit. So I will say this, South Dakota State, when it comes to comparing them to UAPB, they shouldn't even be in the same breath. I mean, they are the real deal, a legit FCS team.
I'm not saying they're the same
champion.
breath.
Yeah, the competition was legit. It was.
Well, I'm not saying they're in the same game as the same type of team, or they're even comparable teams. What I am saying, and this has been the argument on Twitter all week long, because I guess I am drinking the Kool-Aid at this point. But look, this has been the argument on Twitter, and this is the argument with you, is I'm not saying that UAPB is South Dakota State. What I'm saying is, number one, we can't really look at the past to determine the future anymore with the transfer portal. And two, all I can go off of was our offense being lights out, not perfect, scoring every drive. And then I look at their game against OSU, and South Dakota State had too much success for me to look at this Oklahoma State team and go, yeah, you know what? That's a top 20 type of defense. I mean, their offense is good. But when you start playing teams in the SEC, if we keep playing like we're an SEC team, this is a winnable game. This is a very winnable game. We have weapons on offense. Our quarterback can run when plays break down. So I don't even need my offensive line to be perfect, because he can extend plays and create something out of nothing. That's something that we really have at Arkansas. And then again, we have running backs. We have a stable of running backs. And when Bobby Petrino's calling the plays, if week one was just an inclination as to what he's going to be able to do the rest of the season, then this is a very winnable game. And I don't like when I see my brothers and sisters standing side by side as Arkansas Razorbacks fans doubting going into the season. We have to be hopeful, man. You got to have a little hope. You can't just go through the season going, well, I don't want to get too excited. You got to have some hope.
I get hope. I also get approaching it rationally, and I think that's what we're attempting to do here.
We are, but
Uh,
that's why I'm backing it up with
yeah,
Bobby Petrino is a difference maker. He's a
I
difference maker.
agree.
So I'm not going to go into this game just riding the fence, going, "Oh well, maybe this, maybe that." What I saw week one, and what I saw from week one against OSU, I'm saying that we have the offensive firepower to compete with this team versus just going into this week assuming a loss. And
Yeah,
nobody around me wants to get on board with that. Everybody wants to go, well, Josh, South Dakota State was good. I'm not saying they weren't good. Argue with my argument. Argue with my argument. I'm not saying they weren't good. I'm just saying that they had too much success on offense for me to really believe that Oklahoma State's going to be able to stop our offense. Now, we can always shoot ourselves in the foot. We can
yeah,
always do that. But if we
yeah.
play like we played week one, we got a chance.
Okay, so I agree, and I know Coach Petrino is telling them the same thing. Is like, guys, the only team or the only obstacle that's going to stop us is ourselves. He's going to show them the tape, and he's going to see what I saw. I see the matchups. I know right now Isaac Tesla and Jordan Anthony, they're going to be huge in the slot. I think they're going to struggle with the outside linebackers in coverage. Now, I will say this, Oklahoma State, as I kind of go through the defensive lineup, let me actually go through that first in your scouting report, tell you who we got going on, and I'll tell you the matchups that I think are favorable for the Arkansas Razorbacks and the ones that Bobby Petrino are going to exploit. So you start with the defensive line. They have it set up as a 3-down front, so you're going to have your Mike and Will linebackers with your right and left defensive end and a nose tackle. At least that's what they have here on their depth chart. And when it gets to their DNs, you're going to see them around. They have one that's 6'7", 275, a very similar build to Landon Jackson, 6'6", 6'7", whatever. I'm going to let that be. So a very similar build. So Carmona is mostly going to be dealing with a lot of that. So he's going to be used to it. And I think this is going to be a big day for the offensive line. Another guy that's going to be on the edge, this is going to be the matchup up front. And this is where I'm a little concerned. But if we can get this figured out, we're going to be in really good shape. So they got a guy that's going to be your will linebacker playing on the edge of the line of scrimmage. His name is Colin Oliver. He's number 30. He's a senior. Dude's got a motor. Not very big, however, but he has a motor, and he's not very disciplined. But he is very hard to get hands on. He's very quick, Josh. He slashes, uses his hands well, more of an athletic end. Blackstock. It's going to be him and Blackstock. And I believe if I am Oklahoma State, I'm going to try to have that matchup as much as possible. I'm not going to waste him on Carmona because Carmona, I think, is better with his feet, hands, hips, all of it. If I were to pick one, I'm going to pick Blackstock. So that's going to be a huge matchup for him this week. And I know he has to prepare for it, has to be disciplined, has to be great with his hips, keep his leverage down. Because if he's slow at all, this guy will just simply beat him with speed. That's going to be a huge matchup. So that's going to be the defensive line versus offensive line matchup I'm going to be looking for. As we get to the linebackers, Nick Martin, redshirt junior, he's the real deal. He's a football player, no doubt about it. Number 4 for Oklahoma State. He's going to be the guy that is going to make sure everybody's lined up. But I would say his biggest responsibility is going to be Taylen Green. It's going to be quarterback versus Mike linebacker. So these two, it's going to be like a chess match out there. And this dude's fast too, Josh, and he's an athlete. And so when it comes to the ability that Taylen has with his legs, I think a lot's going to be on this linebacker, Nick Martin's responsibility to try to contain that and keep him in the pocket. You saw they did that a little bit on 3rd down, even with the quarterback from South Dakota, who sometimes would try to sneak out of the backfield, but this dude would just hawk him down. I would say he's a poor man's Harold Perkins. Now, Harold Perkins is a linebacker from LSU, All-American, going to be a top 10 draft pick. I'm not saying he is him, but he's not far, and I can't wait to see that matchup. In the secondary, this is where I think we have the advantage. I love our receivers, especially if Armstrong is able to get over the hamstring. Like I said, stick around. We'll talk to Kurt Reynolds more about the potential of how fast we can get back from a hamstring. Their number one guy is going to be their corner, Corey Black. He's a senior. He had a pick in the first half against South Dakota State. He's very savvy. He would play with different types of leverage to try to entice a throw, and then he would jump on it. But outside of that, I think we are. I think we have the advantage offensively if we can take care of the matchup on the offensive line, and if Taylen can be very disciplined in his approach and get the ball where it needs to be. Last week, Josh, I know it sounds like I'm always picking on Taylen. I just know that there's more to him, and I can't wait to see it. And we need to see it week 2. You see him get the ball out to Jackson a lot. Jackson's a great option in the check down, and he would get first downs. It look great. I don't think that's going to be available against Oklahoma State. I think that the way that Coach Petrino sees what is going to be the right play call, Taylen has to see it develop and trust it and get the ball out on time and throw into some windows, and he has to be spot on. And
Right.
I think if he can do that, we have the advantage offensively. So all of this, Josh, is kind of circling around for it to be somewhat of a shootout. I would say that.
I thought you were going to say all of this to say I agree with you, and you're right. I thought that's where you were
No,
going.
no, you do have – no, I do agree with you.
Say it one more time. Say it one more time.
You heard
like
me.
that. I
Don't
like
you worry
that.
about it. I just with what
right.
they have,
Go ahead.
with what they have at Arkansas, they have enough to win this game. You couldn't say that a year ago, especially you couldn't. They do have enough to win this game. But I think offensively we have the advantage against their defense. Now,
well, it's interesting.
Let's talk about their offense.
Hold on. It's interesting that you said that because the Oklahoma State Cowboys, they have 10 returning starters on their defense, or at least guys who lettered last year on their defense. 27 lettermen from last year's defense. And their DBs, they got some vets out there. Trey Rucker, Kendall Daniels, that linebacker you just talked about. So you'd think it wouldn't be the case. But even with all that being said, the Cowboys ranked at the very bottom of their conference last year in defense. So I guess at this point in time, we just have to put our faith in Bobby Petrino's offense. So we have to say he's going to keep us in the game with the big question mark still being there on our defense being the real deal or not. I mean, because I'm not going to rule that out. We don't really have anything to compare it to, but man, the preseason hype kind of looks good on them, and shutting the team out, not yourself, not really having any blown coverage. We did have a little bit of blown coverage in that UAPB game where the quarterback actually stepped out of bounds and saved us from a touchdown. But outside of that, we didn't really wasn't really much to complain about. So, even with the Cowboys having some guys coming back, I think that it's just the perfect matchup for Bobby to get into a shootout. And he loves shootouts.
Yeah.
He's going to out Cowboy the Cowboys. But it's quick draw Petrino, baby. Quick draw Petrino.
I think I saw a lot on tape that I'm already seeing some classic Bobby Petrino plays that I think a lot of fans are going to be like, oh, I remember that. I think it is set up to happen this week. But no, it's just Ollie Gordon is going to be an X factor, no doubt about it. The dude is, like I said, legit. It's going to be a big task for our defense. Now, defensively, where we need to show up and where I think we're going to struggle, at our defensive back position, just because I really do think Oklahoma State's receivers are very tenured and they seem very composed, and there's some ballers now. They catch with their hands. They're great with spacing. That's what happens when you get more experienced players. The matchup with their running backs and our linebackers, they're fast. And the thing is, they're going to have to gang tackle because this dude breaks tackles, Josh, runs through them. He is someone who hates to have one person take him down. So balanced, so patient. It's just so fun watching him run. And so that's going to be very huge. And up front with our defensive line, because I will say this too, Oklahoma State does a great job getting up to the second level. And if our guys up front are somewhat easy to handle for Oklahoma State's offensive line, that's when the linebackers are going to start being covered up by these big boys pulling around. And it's going to be extremely tough. And what you also saw, Josh, was I mentioned in the breakdown, the Ollie Gordon effect is you have to bring somebody in the box to account for this guy. And you have to start bringing pressure to make sure the quarterback, if he does throw it, he has to get it out quick. And the thing with that, this dude is experienced, no doubt about it. And I think he knows where he wants to go, not just based off what the coach tells him, but based off what he sees pre-snap. And so, once again, it's going to be huge. Those first those first 2 to 3 seconds for our DB, if they can just be sound in their technique, not get beat off the line, and make sure they don't get caught out leveraged, especially in all these route concepts that they do, we have a good shot. I just think that's where we're going to struggle the most. So DBs, if I had to pick between their receivers and our DBs, I think the receivers have the upper hand. Our D line against their offensive line, a healthy Landon Jackson, it's close. I almost want to say it's a wash, but unfortunately, I have to give the edge to Oklahoma State's offensive line, but not by much.
Well, they've just got a lot of seniority. They've been around there for a long time. Yeah. They're really well experienced. They played with each other for a long time, so they're going to be in tune. And again, if the offense is putting up the type of numbers it has for the past few years, that's a big reflection of the offensive line. But Gundy, old Mike Gundy, was in a press conference here this past week, and he was talking about the size of SEC players, because they were kind of asking him, like, what do you think about having to play Arkansas? What's that matchup look like? Well, he said, look, when you get in the SEC, he said, you're recruiting guys from an area where they're just made bigger. They're bigger. I'm like, brother, you're in Oklahoma. First of all, you're right across the street from us. I don't really know. Yeah, I don't know what that means, but that's what he said. He said these guys in the in the trenches in the SEC are bigger, and he's worried about that. He's worried about his guys, having to face that, and that be something that maybe they're not used to. So if he's just giving credit, that's just coach talk to make sure that his team comes prepared, and he's giving credit to the other team, maybe that's what he's doing. But at the same time, you wonder if there's any substance, any truth to that he's worried that we're a little bit bigger, and we're going to move those guys a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, this is something like this week kind of got super jam-packed and busy, no doubt about it, especially with Labor Day. One less day in the week. Still trying to make sure that we give you what you want when it comes to a deeper look into those big boys up front with former offensive lineman Grant Cook. His insight's going to be great. I know a lot of people were asking for it, so we're going to try our best to make that happen.
Even if we put that up solo with after the episode drops, you can always drop that with Grant as a little pregame teaser or something.
Yeah, I would love that. So we'll try to make that happen for you, but still a lot to watch for. Biggest thing, though, is going to be the health. So, like I said, Andrew Armstrong would be huge if we can get him on the field. Landon Jackson, from what we heard, cannot confirm, just has maybe a little dink or a little bang up. Hopefully that's all it is. Kudus out, as Pittman said, has a back. And like I said, we got to brush you up on your fantasy football too. So for all y'all people that need to know who's going to be on the field and who is not, here's Dr. Reynolds.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Happy to be back here on 4th and 5 with a little injury update. So talk about the Razorbacks as we get ready for the Oklahoma State game this weekend. We've still got Kudus out with a back injury. Don't really have a whole lot more information on that, but the fact that we're hearing he's just simply not playing, that he's out for the weekend, kind of raises the suspicion that maybe this is something a little more significant. Certainly would worry that maybe he has a disc injury, pinched nerve, as most of us would call it, or perhaps has a small fracture in the low back area. So we'll keep an eye on that over the coming weeks. Hopefully he is getting well and rehabbing the right way so that we can get him back on the field. Armstrong, a wide receiver, he's been dealing with a hamstring, so still questionable for this weekend. Hamstring strains, they're tricky, especially in speed position players. They've got to be able to accelerate quickly, got to be able to decelerate quickly, plant that foot, get that leg moving to the outside. So if that hamstring is tweaked at all, certainly going to limit his ability to be as effective on the field as we need him to be. I'm sure they're really stretching that out, getting him iced down, starting to work on some strength and getting him back on the field as quickly as possible. Landon Jackson left practice reportedly this week with a shoulder injury. We don't really know much more information than that. So most common shoulder injuries we see this time of year are AC separation, where collision, one player collides with the other player's shoulder, so the shoulder blade gets pushed down, the collarbone stays still, sprains or injures the ligaments between the collarbone and the shoulder blade. Those can be just a simple sprain, they can be a tear, but oftentimes are something that we've just got to let calm down, do a lot of anti-inflammatories, range of motion exercises, ice, things like that. Hopefully get him back this weekend without any difficulty. So that's kind of where we stand on the Hogs, and so hoping that we can carry last weekend's performance to this weekend and take care of Oklahoma State pretty easily. So transitioning to fantasy football. Fantasy football starts tonight. I know I've got my team ready, so can start winning that victory. And a couple of injury updates to look at. Tight end Mark Andrews was injured last November with an ankle injury. Reportedly had some ligaments torn and fibula fractures. So when you hear about people having a high ankle sprain, that's an injury to those ligaments. So reportedly Andrews had a fracture of the fibula, also had some ligament injury, and so usually that takes 12 to 16 weeks, 3 to 4 months to heal, and then quite a bit of rehab to get the flexibility back, get the balance back. But we're coming upon 10 months out from that injury, so certainly would think he's going to be ready to go this weekend. And so certainly if that's your starting tight end, I would look for him to play this weekend and see how he does, to see, hey, do I need to pick someone up off the waivers next week to move forward through the season. We've also got DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins has been dealing with a knee sprain, and he said he feels like he's good to go, but that there are measures in place with the Titans organization that will determine if he plays this weekend or not. So certainly would think even if he plays, he's probably not going to be full speed. I would think they're probably going to watch his reps a little bit this weekend, certainly with the opening game. So look for Treylon Burks to maybe have a breakout game. We need our former Razorback to get some reps, and maybe he's your sleeper for this weekend and moving into the season. This might be his breakout game. So certainly we want Hopkins to be well and healthy and back playing, but also rooting for Treylon Burks to have a breakout season this year and be a really good asset for the Titans. So that's kind of where we are on the fantasy football realm starting this first Thursday of the season. And we will keep our eyes and ears peeled through the weekend, see how the NFL games transpire, see if there's any injuries that we can update you guys on next weekend for your fantasy teams. And certainly going to be rooting the Hogs on this weekend at OSU and hoping for a victory there. And we'll keep you updated on how our Razorbacks are doing.
Man, Dr. Reynolds, man, I would, you know what? We need to get him on the phone tomorrow because I need to talk to him about what I need to be doing with my rosters. In fact, if I can give him my passcode to my app and just have him go ahead and set my rosters, I think that's how I'm going to win. Well, I'm really
team, bro.
Technically, I'm really running my girlfriend's team up at Slim Chickens. So
you got it right.
Yeah. We got a little racket going on because we're trying to make sure that we beat all those people up at the corporate building because they don't watch football like that. But at the same time, I'm the worst when it comes to fantasy football. So Dr. Reynolds, man, call me. We need to talk.
Yeah. Hey, I like it. We're going to make it happen. We're going to make it work. So Dr. Reynolds, always a fun thing, and hopefully those guys are healthy and they get healthy soon. We'll update you as we learn more, like always. All right, so we're about to go ahead and wrap this up. Real quick, Josh, this is something I kind of want to do. And you're going to have to help me because my phone died, so I can't pull it up. But, man, we love the feedback and the engagement and the conversation that y'all been leaving us in the comment section. It's been great, and we've been hearing you. So, Josh, if you could pull that up and go through a few of them. I will say this. I had a comment that posted, and I agree with them, and we'll check up on that. Somebody said, love the breakdowns, loving all this. They asked maybe – Can we get away from the music because you can't really focus that much on the breakdown? You know what? I kind of agree. I don't want it to be so much Sports Center and ESPN when it comes to that. I'm going to make it be just like it is when we sit in that meeting room with our position coaches and with the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinators, and we break down film. Now, it would be awesome if coaches added music to those film sessions. It just don't work like that. So we heard you. And we'll experiment with that a little bit, and we'll see how it goes.
Well,
but like I said,
yeah, let me get to the comment section because I was actually going to tell you in my film sessions in college in the wide receiver room, Paul Petrino, he always had him a little dip in, and he had him a little Coca-Cola.
Yes,
and we were indoors, so he had to swig that. So if you could do it with a little something in there for us when you're doing your breakdown, and just go ahead and swish it down with a nice Coca-Cola for us, that would make it even better.
I can't make that shake. Those dudes are different. Hey, here's one from AF Warrior 83 says, everyone wants to talk about Petrino's offense, but the D coordinator is legit. Holding any team scoreless is impressive. Travis Williams, our defense coordinator, like I said, I love that guy. I love what he's doing. I love how he has his team bought in. Like I said, I do believe he will be a head coach one day, probably sooner than later, and he's going to have his guys geared up and ready to go. We have Blue Blood Arkansas basketball, loves the breakdowns, wants more of them. Sean Tarr says Carmona and Braun had the highest PFF grade for their positions in the week for the SEC. And yes, shout out to Carmona for being the SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week. Yes, I know the competition wasn't great. I ain't trying to hear it.
Hey, it doesn't matter. Sean Tarr also said Ty Washington is so underrated. He could win the Mackey as well. He is a dog. That is true. I mean, he is good. It'd be interesting to see if he had all the playing time, how good he could be. Because Luke is phenomenal. It kind of reminds me of back when I was in the 11th grade, and I had to play behind. I had to share playing time with DJ Williams. He broke his ankle, baby. I was never so happy. That man broke his ankle, and I got to play. Thank the Lord.
You was balling out there. You was balling out there.
Heck yeah, I was. Richard HX6M. I love the breakdowns. I'm going to keep breaking it down. Don't worry. I'm not breaking it down for the OSU week. I'm heading out of town to Italy for a little trip, but I'm going to be breaking it down when I get back. And by the way, guys, I just want to apologize. I know it's not Malik, Tim Johnson, 3655. His name is not Malik. It's Malachi. I've been saying it all day because I didn't want to do it again today, so I appreciate you guys.
Yeah. You remember when I said names matter and you came at me?
I know when you said it. I just don't want to hear it from you. I don't know Tim Johnson.
Tim Johnson, from everybody else.
As far as I know, Mr. Tim, he can articulate everything. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But I know that you cannot. So I'm not trying to hear it from you.
Hey, we got another one from Trisha Mason. She says one of the hair-raising plays was when Green crossed the field and scored. We had that as number 2.
Trisha.
Second was Satania's punt return. Got a score, but got called back, and she did a real angry emoji. I can't wait to see what Satania does in special teams. I think he's going to be very special when it comes, no pun intended, when it comes to that. And it says, I'll wait and see what else y'all are thinking. Josh is definitely drinking the Kool-Aid.
Look, I feel like I don't know. I feel like I know who this Trisha is, but it's the Mason that's throwing me off. But I think I know who this Trisha is. But I don't want to say. I don't want to say her. I don't want to say, but I think I know who she is, and I think I don't think she really thinks I'm drinking Kool-Aid.
Here we go. Here's one from Well-Dub. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Deed Hub, whatever. Look, I started watching you guys after the Mizzou loss last year. By far the best channel on Razorback football analysis, and now bringing a lineman in to help. That's why I got to make sure Grant gets this. Grant, if you're watching this, we got to go ahead and get that up. To understand how things play out on the field. I'm looking forward to this. In my opinion, to the linemen, or I guess he got after it, are very important to be successful. Keep it coming. The sooner the better with the OSU breakdown. Well, I hope you enjoyed this week, no doubt about it. Josh, it's been a fun one. Always appreciate the feedback. Keep it going. Please like and share. Like I said, the bigger we can grow this thing, the more potential we have with some sponsors, and the more resources we can have to spend more time with this and give you exactly what you need.